Hi there, Dr. Vicki Lenford here with the Shift Happens channel. Okay, today we're going to talk about how to be able to change your circumstances. And it all begins and ends with you, right? You don't even realize how powerful you are. If you want people to show up differently, it starts with you. So you have to start imagining energetically, meditatively, quietly, and to yourself how you would prefer that relationship to show up. And I have done this actually at work. You could say I was bullied maybe, at work. I had a group of women that just really didn't, support me. And they did some awful things. And I took it on as a victim for quite a while. And this is actually what got me into the Lawofassumption. And then I started thinking, man, I can't do this on my own, because I was trying to prove my worth and to prove them wrong. Like they had me wrong. Like they were trying to put me over here and I was like, no, I'm this. Well, that's all fine and dandy, but they had my energy, they had control over my thoughts, everything, until they didn't. What happened? I knew, just like the law of assumption, my thoughts, words, and emotions create your reality, create your destiny. And then I was thinking, man, but I had such negative storylines, such negative, horrible thoughts towards these people, and they were women. And so I almost detested them. And then all of a sudden I thought, gosh, I can't live this way, because we all know that how you feel about other people is really how you feel about yourself. And they were reflecting my belief system. I was working in the midst of lack. I was viewing everything because I felt inadequate. So I worked on my self-esteem, I worked on my self-love, but more importantly, I worked on forgiveness. So what did I do? There was about 6 of them. I went one by one, and I forgave them, and I looked at all the positive aspects, and I appreciated them. It took a while, because I had a lot of resistance built up against them, because I thought they were controlling me. But they were just doing their job of showing me how much I really didn't like myself, right? And so actually now I got to the point where they really started falling away from me. And I didn't want to leave my job, because I loved my job. I still love my job, right? I teach teachers how to teach. And I absolutely love my students. And I thought, boy, I'm not going to give up this job because these women are mean to me, right? The only person that was mean to me was me. And they just played their part, because I was the writer, director, producer of my movie. And they did an excellent job. I did a great job of really just knocking my around. I was really, everything I looked at was inadequate, like I was inadequate. So I got really super defensive, and then I calmed down and I let it go. One summer I was just tired. I was like, I can't keep fighting this. I can't keep doing this. And actually I kind of threw myself into a hobby. I always wanted to fish. So I taught myself how to fish, and I threw myself into it. I was watching YouTube videos like crazy. And it was actually quite fun. And I didn't think about them a whole lot. If I did, I was just like, whatever, I'm just going to learn how to bass fish. And it was actually fun. And I had a great time. But it was the best thing I could do, because I gave up and I just let it go. And when I say gave up, I just was like, I'm going to just let this go. I can't do this anymore. And then I fell into law of attraction and eventually law of assumption. But the point is that I knew that everything begins and ends with me. So if I wanted my outside world to look different, I had to change within myself. So that's exactly what I did. Whatever I gave to myself, I gave to others. So I always started with me, and I started with appreciation. And it was a slow process, because I had a lot of resistance against myself when I first started this. And then I couldn't even look at myself in the mirror. And I did mirror work, I did scripting, I just immersed myself in coaches and YouTube videos and books. I mean, you name it, I was doing it. And then eventually I started standing on my own. And guess what happened to there was about 6 women that were bullying me. They just fell away. I stopped, excuse me, excuse me. I stopped focusing on them. I stopped creating that storyline that I created as I saw them, like, excuse me. If I saw them in the hallway, I would think they would be thinking one thing. And I stopped creating those negative stories. Excuse me, I apologize. I do one take, I don't edit. So it was a constant surrender and awareness of my stories and the stories I was attaching to myself. So when I felt myself going, oh, I bet they hate the fact that I'm walking through the hallway or whatever. I mean, that sounds horrible against myself, but then I was just like, no, I'm going to focus on myself. I love the fact that I'm walking in this hallway. I love my students. I love my job. I love the people I work with. And I started just going into that. And eventually, after so much work, I got to the point where I appreciated them and I forgave them. And I did this every night. I visited the forgiveness and list of positive aspects about them. And one by one, they either just left me alone, they either went into a different department, and they just fell away. And they truly left me alone and just actually embraced me. In fact, now the number one person that I really had a hard time with, well, she's hiring me for consulting jobs. And I'm like, wow. Now we're not best friends, but I love and respect her greatly because I know we are all connected. And she was just showing me how I was feeling about myself. And now I'm flourishing, I'm thriving because I'm deciding. And I decided how they were going to show up. Now I use that superpower of, even meetings or any classes or even just showing up to work. I intend every day. I expect, and I intend today I am going to enjoy my harmonious, loving relationships with my colleagues, with my students. We're going to laugh, we're going to have fun, we're going to collaborate, we're going to create a wonderful classroom where we are respecting and trusting and we're honest and we're making headway. And, I just go on this rampage and people show up exactly how I intend. Now, when they don't, that's okay too, because it's not a perfect world. So what happens is they are just showing me bits and pieces of my belief system. So I appreciate them, right? And in general, mostly, I am walking on water, so to speak. I feel great because I start my day out and I know, it's not just I expect and intend, I know that people are gonna show up the way I feel. And if I feel good about myself, they're gonna reflect that. And I can intentionally visualize some people, you just have different personalities. And so maybe our personalities are a little bit opposite. That's okay, because I'm gonna intend that we're gonna respect and love our differing points of view, and we're gonna show up harmonious and loving and respectful towards one another. We're gonna share our ideas, even if they're opposite, we're gonna come to the middle. And it works. And I'm telling you, my job, I love my job. I love doing this. And this is exactly how I intend that this is, you are receiving it with love and kindness. And I know it's helping you. So until next time, go ahead and like, share, comment. Let's create this community and build each other up, because it does work. I promise you it does. And if you need help on this journey, go ahead and contact me at shifthappenslifecoaching@gmail.com. Until next time, love you. Bye-bye.